So whenever I'm asked to speak at these places, I always tell people I don't want to do a show, but I want to educate people. So I'm doing 4 demonstrations here throughout the Farm and Ranch Show, and today is an introduction, and every day it's going to add on to what I told you today or taught you today, and then the third one will add on to the second one, and the fourth one will add on to the third one. Okay? So I encourage you to make sure you attend all of them if you can. After my presentation is done, please feel welcome to come and visit us right at that booth over there. You have any questions, any concerns, whether it's about your horse, whether it's about horsemanship, you have any questions about our program, behavior, please feel welcome to come and visit us. I've got a really friendly team over there and we're more than happy to answer your questions. Today we're going to get started on, I'm going to introduce you to concept and behavior. And a lot of times when I say to people, I say, so when I say natural horsemanship, what comes to mind? See, we all think about marketing stuff, and I want to get you out of the mindset of marketing, and let's get hung up on horsemanship. We got a lot of labels, a lot of big words in the industry, and sometimes it's very intimidating, aren't they, these terms? And it's getting so scientific that it's not natural anymore. So when you think about natural horsemanship, and you thought I was going to do all the talking. Okay, what comes to your mind? Rodeo. Okay, yeah? Energy. You want to work for me? Energy and body language, that's good. Okay, anything else? Just yell it out. Just so you know, I'm actually not going to play with the horse today in there, but just bear in mind that I'm going to ask for some volunteers, and today I'm going to use some human horses. And then tomorrow, what we're talking about, we're going to use it with a real horse. Okay. Any other ideas on natural horsemanship? Okay. You know, people make it very complicated. Natural horsemanship is very simple. It actually has a big definition. And the big definition is it's where we use understanding, psychology, and communication. And it versus horsemanship, which means for the children, it's the opposite of where we use fear, intimidation, and mechanics. Okay? So that's really what the definition of natural horsemanship is. Really, to keep it simple, what natural horsemanship should be is, it's working within the realms of how horses work with one another. When in Rome, we do as the Romans do. When in the horse corral, we should do as the horses do. But the problem that we have in the horse industry is a lot of people have a misconception that natural horsemanship is about warm fuzzies, lots of hugs and kisses, a certain kind of blanket, or that we're always loving them and there's no discipline involved. That's actually false. That'd be like, I have 4 children, and if I never disciplined my children, I'd be visiting them in jail. Okay? There has to be discipline. Okay? But our discipline is based on, we have to have emotional fitness. What do I mean by emotional fitness? It means that if I have to bring up my, what we call phase of firmness, so if I have to use more energy to make my point, I'm able to do that, but just as quickly, I can bring it back down and maybe be neutral. Who does that make sense to? Show of hands. Yes? Excellent. Okay. So, if we have emotional fitness, then we're being assertive instead of aggressive. Well, what's the difference? Well, when I'm assertive, I have emotional fitness, and it's based on principles of fairness and safety for me and my horse. When I'm aggressive, there is no emotional fitness, and there are no principles of safety and fairness. I'm just mad and I'm mean. The best way I can break that down is, this happened to me before, I don't want anybody cornering me on child rearing, okay? It's the best way that I can explain this is, maybe some people have spanked their children, but I pray to God no one's ever hit a child. Do you see the difference? Okay, so if we're assertive, then we're going to get a positive out of it. If we're aggressive, we actually do harm. Okay, and we have to remember that the horse is a prey animal, and we are a predator. Okay, so we deal with things very differently. For example, if I was to make somebody uncomfortable and they were standing right with me, I bet you pretty soon, have you ever found yourself doing this? You're forming a fist. Do you know why you do that? That's hardwired behavior in you, which means it goes way back to early man, because this is our primary source of defense. Okay? But what is it in a horse? They're a prey animal. It's, isn't it? They flee from danger. They're gone. A horse's primary source of defense is flight. But if pushed too far, they will fight. A horse is a flight animal, but if pushed too far, they will fight. Okay? Make sense to everybody? Good. Okay. So, since we know this, we have to remember that both species, human and horses, are stimulated by movement. We both are. Look at the cat. The cat is a predator. If that mouse moves, is that cat stimulated? That cat's on fire. The pupils are so huge you almost can't tell the color of the cat's eyes anymore, can you? Okay, because the cat is stimulated by movement. So for the predator, when there's movement, it causes the predator to give chase. For the prey animal, they're stimulated by movement, but it causes them to flee. And this is something that we have to remember when we're playing with horses. Notice I said playing instead of work. I've never worked a horse a day in my life. And I'm convinced every horse never gets past age 12 as a child. Okay? They're very childlike. Okay. So, if we know that they're stimulated by movement, the thing that I have to be careful of is, and round penning is a perfect example. See, people ask the horse, let's say, to go left, and the horse starts going left. Well, the horse just did what I asked, so really we should then take the pressure off to make that horse feel correct. We want to isolate that, but the predator in us goes, yeah! And we get really excited and the chase is on. And we don't mean to chase, but we do. And we don't realize that in little small ways, we're keeping pressure on horses and it's bringing on a reaction. For example, you right there, the gentleman sitting right there, if I was to talk to you and I look at you intently, that's pressure, isn't it? Now my kids tell me I have a look that would straighten out the whole world. Okay, so, but then all of a sudden, I point at you. There's more pressure, isn't there? Okay, now I'm going to keep pointing, but I'm going to look this way. You still have pressure, don't you? Yeah, even when I'm not looking at you. The point I'm trying to make is what people often do is they're like this, and they forget to go back into neutral. You can almost hear the music of Jaws, dun, 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 while they're playing with their horse, because they're like this. They're like this. And also, especially people who are new to horses, they tend to be very tense and nervous. And if you are bracy, your horse will be bracy. So here's a little trick I want you to try. I want everybody to breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Who just noticed their core muscles softening? It's critical that your body language is soft. If I'm standing here talking to you the whole time like this, you're going to be exhausted by the time I'm done, aren't you? But if I soften my body language, then you're more relaxed. It's the same with horses. Make sense, guys? Okay, good. Okay, when I first play with a horse, and I get a horse in the arena, I just assume the left side of the brain, which we often call the thinking side, and I'm talking about a state of mind. I don't actually mean the left side of the brain. I'm talking about a state of mind, okay? The left side of the brain is the thinking side, and the right side of the brain is the reacting side, okay? I just assume when I first start playing with a horse that the right side, the reacting, is about the size of a beach ball, and the left side, which is the thinking side, is the size of a ping pong ball. And I want to switch that. I want to develop the left side of my brain. So a common error people make is they actually run horses to get the out of them, right? Or the little spark out of them, instead of building mind. And there's a problem with that. And the number one technique that gets used to do that, that is highly abused, is lunging or circling on line. They're referred to as either one. So this is what folks do. The mistake they make when they're first lunging or circling is they put the horse on line, and today they're going to run that horse for about 10, 20 minutes. Okay, that's going to work today because horse is tired, right? But 2 weeks from now, you're going to need 40 minutes. 3 weeks from now, you're going to do 80. Now, my math isn't very good. Is everybody catching on what's happening here? Okay, so you know what also we're doing is this? We're building endurance, lung capacity in that horse. We are not building mind. Build mind and the body will automatically follow. Build mind and the body will automatically follow. There's 2 ways that we get a horse's respect. Okay? The ability to move their feet and reward the slightest try. It's that simple. Think about it in a herd. If the lead horse comes up to another horse and wants to be at the water first, does she get that horse to move his or her feet? You darn straight she does. Yeah. Okay? And she goes through phases of firmness, doesn't she? Okay? How does she do that? What do I mean? Well, she starts with, she might have a look. Okay? And then, all of a sudden, the ears are pinned. Then she might back up, and pretty soon it's bang. So then that horse has learned to move. And that's how that horse gets respect from other horses, is the ability to move another horse's feet. Okay? How many of you have a horse and they come into your space and every time you take a step back? How many of you have had that happen? Yep, you're just being honest, just about everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry to tell you you're normal. Yeah. So your horse actually just won at a leadership game because your horse got you to get into position for her or him instead of the other. What I would do is I would say, this is my space, and that's why I like these types of tools. You don't have to have this exact tool. You know, there's a lot of good communicative tools out there. I'm not about selling equipment, I'm about horsemanship. And I would take this and I would probably draw a circle around myself. That is my personal space. And if the horse comes into my personal space, I'd say, you need to stay right there. Okay? Because a horse is not a beast of burden. A horse is my partner. And in partnerships, both sides have responsibilities. And if I ask my horse to do something, he owns 49% of doing that. And I own 51%. Somebody's got to be a leader, and think about it, I'm a woman. Okay, so I've got to have 51%. Okay, so that's how we got to make sure that these horses are not walking over us. Does that make sense? And we want to be that lead horse. I know that in the horse world today, we always and quite often say, well, we got to be horse number 1. And we used to say you have to be the dominant horse. We actually changed the terminology to saying to be the lead horse. And the reason why we changed our terminology to being the lead horse now is because of the definition of the word. So for example, do you work?
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
Work at a gas station right
Okay, now. So she works at a gas station, and I bet if I said to you, what's your name?
Lacey.
Lacey, I'm Nettie. Very nice to meet you. Okay, so if I said, hey Lacey, I bet you're really good at your job, and you're a real dominant person there in the store. That has a pretty negative connotation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But if I said, hey Lacey, I bet you're really good at your job, and you're a real leader, or the lead person in the store, do you see how that has a different meaning to it? So we want to be the lead horse, not the dominant horse. There is a dominant horse in the herd, nobody hangs out with her. Okay? But there's a lead horse in the herd and everybody goes and drinks when she goes and drinks. Make sense, guys? Yeah, so we want to be the lead horse. Here's a little skill testing question for you. Let's say you have 12 horses and you know this horse is number 12 in the pecking order. Do you want to be horse number 1 with that horse? Or do you want to be horse number 11 with that horse? 11. Why? Well, it's a darn good guess. He's spot on. Horse number 12 doesn't hang out with horse number 1. Horse number 12 hangs out with horse number 11. The point I'm trying to make is, don't get too big to make your point? Who does that make sense to? Yeah? As little as possible, as much as necessary. Okay? We evaluate everything we do with horses based on two very critical things. Is this horse responding to me, or is this horse reacting to me? What do you think I want? Responses. Right. Is this horse accepting me, or is this horse tolerating me? What do you think I want? Acceptance. So I evaluate all of that, and and I want my horse to learn to have an understanding with responses and acceptance. Okay? Okay. I often say to people, horsemanship is a lot like a handshake. Okay? You're almost way off on your own here. If we come and shake hands, we're actually feeling of, feeling for, and feeling together, aren't we? Okay? At no time do I have to go up to Lacey here and say, Lacey, I really want to shake your hand. Are you ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3, lift up your hand. 1, 2, 3, connect. 1, 2, 3, up, down, up, down. 1, 2, 3, let go. Nobody does that. And if they do, don't hang out with them. Okay? Because it's creepy and weird, isn't it? Okay. So the point I'm trying to make is, when we actually shake hands, we don't have to say anything because we're feeling of, feeling for, and feeling together. If I was to come and shake this gentleman's hand, I'm going to tease you here a little bit, and I don't let go, that's going to get creepy and weird. Okay? Okay. And I can kind of feel him going, trying to get his hand back, and he's thinking, for goodness sakes, woman, let go of my hand. Okay, but as soon as I indicated, and we didn't even have eye contact, but you were reading my body language, you immediately let go. He was probably thinking, thank God. Yeah, okay? So does that make sense? So good horsemanship is we feel of, feel for, and feel together. Show of hands who that makes sense to. Good. Okay. So I'm going to ask for some volunteers to come into my arena, and I need about 4 people, and you're going to be my horse. And I'm going to talk about what I'm going to build to and how to effectively communicate with a horse and common mistakes that we make. Okay? Before we do that, while you're thinking about it, because I know what's going to happen, everybody's going to be in the round pen. Okay. Before we do that, you notice I'm holding some tools here. Again, I am not a saleswoman. I do not sell this stuff. I'm just going to explain so that you wonder what I have here. This here is often referred to as a horseman stick. The reason why I like it is because it doesn't bend very readily. So if I had a horse that was in my space and I couldn't move, I could move you like that. Okay, sorry, I'll rub that there. Okay, the other is I can make my arm a little bit longer, so suddenly I have 4 feet plus 5 feet. I now have 9 feet of space, because there are some horses on this planet you do not want to be this close to. Okay? Okay. So I'm a little bit safer in the beginning. Hi. Hey. And she's even smiling. Isn't that cute? Okay. I like to use what we call a 4-knot halter. A lot of people who know about natural horsemanship are very familiar with the 2-knot halter. The 2-knot would just have a knot here, 1, 2. The 4-knot has an additional 2 knots that actually sit here on the horse. Okay, why do I like that? It's an extra pressure point. Do we ever abuse it? Nope, but it's there if I need it. You will notice that my halters are, well, they're not mine, but the ones that I get, actually it's Burwash Ropes who makes them, but that make them for me. It's a little bit stiffer. There's a couple of reasons why I like that, because if a horse really pulls back, this still comes undone. Who's ever had those soft halters and may the force be with you to get them undone when a horse pulls back? Okay. And the other reason why I like a stiffer rope is we also know the stiffer the rope, the more bite. Again, I don't abuse it, but I'm 125 pounds in the winter. Okay. So I'm guessing a 2,200 pound horse is probably going to have more bite than me sometimes. Make sense? I never abuse it, but I have a higher phase of firmness if I need it. Okay? I like, this is a 14-foot lead shank. It's weighted. Why? Because if I ask the horse to do something, do you see how it's going to be communicative? But as soon as I quit, it quits. And it doesn't blow all over the place in the wind as readily as the ones that are not weighted. I personally prefer a 14-foot lead shank. Now, if you have a 12-weighted lead shank at home, now you don't have to say, well, Nettie Barr has a 14, so I can't use my 12 no more. No, no. You can use your 12. I like a 14-foot. The reason why I do is it just gives that horse a little bit more room. And we do raise horses on our ranch. We raise registered paints and Aztecas. And with those youngsters, I just find if you give those youngsters just a little bit of a bigger space to move in, they do much better, because some horses are just a little bit more claustrophobic than others. Ever notice that? Or they're more sensitive, aren't they? Yeah. Okay, so that's why I like these tools. Any questions so far, folks? Am I losing you? Gotcha? Okay, okay. So, I need about 4 volunteers. Who's going to come into the round pen with me? You get a free audio CD, by the way, and it's on behavior. Come on down. Price is right. Come on down. So I'm going to ask you to go on the round pen. Thank you. Come on into the round pen. Yeah, I can take 5. I can take 6. And if you folks can't see well enough, just come on up. These horses are pretty well trained. I don't think they'll buck or bite or strike out at you. I think you're pretty safe. Okay. Better watch my time, because I always get carried away. Okay, will you give me heads up when it's about 5 minutes? Okay, thanks. Okay, I'm going to get you to line up here and face me. Face these wonderful folks over here. Let's give these folks a hand. This takes a lot of guts. Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, come on up. I've been vaccinated. You're safe. Okay. Okay, let's pretend we get along, snuggy in a little bit, because you're a horse. I've never had a horse like that. And if you do have a horse like that, I highly recommend you sell it. Okay. Okay. The first thing I'm going to have you feel, and I want these folks to feel what the horse feels is, first of all, a lot of times, people go up to a horse and they might rub him with something. Now look what you did. Look what she did. You've got a little Arab here, eh? Yeah. Okay. So, and I would just rub you. Now that's highly invasive and very creepy and weird. But if you can put that aside, we often do that with horses, don't we? We go up to them and rub them with something, or we go up to them with our hand, okay? And in the beginning, because you don't know me, and even though I'm cute at 54, that's still invasive, isn't it? Yeah. Okay? That's a little invasive because you don't know me, right? Yeah. Okay? I know your wife's watching. Okay. That's invasive, isn't it? Okay? Yet we think we can go up to a horse that we don't know and right away start and just get on him. And just get on him, and you haven't even built any sort of respect or an understanding. Now, I don't know about you folks, but I don't want my husband getting all that insurance money. Okay? Okay. Okay. Now we got folks that buy a horse today, and they're going to go team penning tonight. They haven't even gotten an understanding yet with that horse, or they're going to rope off of him. Now, I'm pretty good with this thing. Tell me if this makes you nervous. I won't hit you, I promise. Oops. Oh, darn. No. Does that make you nervous? Okay. We see this in the natural horse world with desensitizing, don't we? So I want you to feel what your horse is feeling, and you have the support of my words and a liability form that protects you, right? So you know I'm not going to hit you. Does that make sense to you? Okay, makes sense, guys? Yeah. So we sometimes don't realize what horses are feeling. Okay, here's another thing. Now I want you to line up and face this way. Just turn. Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, here's a common mistake. Just move up just a little bit. Okay. Okay, so we'll pretend this is the head of the horse. This is the neck. You're the wither area. This is the barrel. You get to be the butt. Okay? Okay, guys, got it? This is we got a little paint here, don't we? All different colors. All right. Now, if I want to just have the horse move his hindquarters, and maybe I want the horse to face that way, here's what most folks do. You would be attached to a lead shank, and they'd walk him this way, and they'd drag him, and have that horse face that way, right? Most people do that, don't they? Okay, why can't you yield the horse? Because the more the horse gets into position for you, the more respect you get. Okay, so if I come over here, now this is going to get really creepy weird, and I look at your butt, is that pressure? You bet it is. I bet her one cheek is even going, bet it's even tightening, okay? So if I look at your hindquarters, and I start, look at my phases of firmness. Now you move when you like. Oh, okay, and take the pressure off. It won't take long, and I'll just need to look at those hindquarters, and she's going to move them. Now, did you feel pressure? When I was yielding her, no, you didn't feel pressure. So if I don't need this to move, why would I talk to that part of the horse? Okay, now let's say I just want the front end to move. I'm getting all tied up in cords here. Okay, now if I come like this, do you feel pressure? Okay, now let me know if you want to move, because I can lift the pressure. Ah, there we go. Now, I got her to move. Do you see I dropped my pressure, my intent? Okay, did you feel pressure back there? So if I just need the front end to move, how come I'm talking to all of the horse? Why not just talk to the part that I need the horse to move? Does that make sense, guys? Yeah, okay. If I wanted to back you up, what's phase one? Phase one is always intention. If I look at you all of a sudden with intent, can you feel that? Yeah, my husband can. Yeah, I bet you can. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I have intention. Then phase two, I lift up my stick. Can you feel all of this? Phase three, a little bit of movement. Start. Aw, she's a little, isn't she? And rough. Okay. Okay. So the point I'm trying to make is we have to have phases of firmness. I'm not just gonna, and then wonder why I got to call the fire department to get her out of the rafters. Okay? Because I was too big. Phase one is always intention. We always say we ask, we tell, and then we promise. So I'm asking you to go back. I'm starting to tell you, and if I have to promise, I will connect on you. However, I am highly selective of where I connect on a horse. I don't hit a horse on a head. Well, I never hit a horse, but I wouldn't spank a horse on a head, and I don't on the legs because we don't have a lot of covering. If she didn't back, I'd probably get her in between her legs on the chest and say, hey, you need to back up. If the horse didn't yield the hindquarters, I would tap this horse on the hindquarters. How much would I tap them? As little as possible, as not much as necessary. If that horse struck out to kick me, I would probably tap a whole bunch harder, okay? And people worry about that. You know what? My dad told me when I was growing up, there are no vital organs in the butt, and I'm living proof of that, okay? You are not going to hurt them tapping that horse on the butt, okay? But there are places you can hurt them, and you don't want to be whacking them horses in the eye or something. Does that make sense, guys? We've got to be selective. We've got to be communicative. We can spank. I've spanked horses, but I've never hit a horse. Make sense? Okay. Now, round penning. Two of the most abused techniques in training is circling or lunging and round penning, because everybody wants to run the living daylights out of the horse. Okay, now I'm just going to assume that you're not going to take off on me. You're a well-trained horse. Okay, now I'm going to need you to face me, so I'm going to yield the hindquarters, and you're going to stay put. See how I can get my horse in position? There we go, a little bit more. There we go. You follow along. There we go. Okay, and take the pressure off. And maybe I might even rub the horse for that. Who here pats their horse? Who here likes patting their horse? Good. Don't pat horses, okay? I travel a lot with my work, and when I come home, I don't really like it if my husband pats me on the back and says, hey baby, how was your time, okay? I just soon rub my back, okay? Horses do not like to be patted. They like to be rubbed, okay? You ever watch a mare with her foal when that foal is born? Not once does she whack that kid and say, hallelujah, you are born, okay? No, with her tongue, she rhythmically licks that horse, licks that horse. A mare will do something similar to a pat, but it's in discipline. So you can say, well, I pat my horse and it's okay. Yeah, your horses learn to tolerate it, but they don't like to be patted They want to be rubbed. We say open hands for rubbing and fingertips for asking. Okay? Okay, so now this horse, a little bit of my space, so I'm going to back her up a little bit. Oh, what a good horsey. And I'm guessing if the front end backs up, I'm guessing with a horsey, the rest will back up.
I don't want to get whacked.
Smart girl. She says, I don't want to get whacked. Okay, now we'll just pretend, I won't use all of the arena, but I want to send my horse to the left. What's phase 1 did I say, guys? Intention. Intention. So if I want this horse to go to the left, then I better look to the left. Now don't go yet, my little Arab. Okay. So I'm going to look to the left. And you notice how I'm on this side? Common mistake people make is they do this. Well, I'm in your way. So if you want a horse to go somewhere, you got to open that door wide open. So I'm going to focus, and then I'm going to point, and the horse is going to say, told you she's from the 70s. Okay, because you're going to think I'm a little crazy at first. But these are my phases of firmness. I focus, but I'm still keeping you in my peripheral vision. I point, and I do what I call life with the stick. Okay, so I'm starting a little bit of energy. It's getting a little closer. And if I had to, I would tap this horse. Where would I tap the horse? On the hindquarters or in the neck shoulder area? Anybody? No, not the butt, the neck shoulder area. The wither, this lady here, what's her name? Debbie is the wither. Okay, and just behind the wither, you know where the cinch gets done up on the saddle, guys? Okay, and we'll just have an imaginary line goes all the way up. We call that the drive line on a horse. Anybody here move cattle? Okay, you always move cattle with a drive line, don't you? Okay, okay, so anything behind the drive line causes the horse to go forward, or I would yield the hindquarters, wouldn't I, if I really got after the horse. But anything behind the drive line causes a horse to go forward. Anything in front of the drive line causes the horse to stop and turn. So if I'm asking this horse to go left, does this horse need to turn? Yes, I don't want forward movement yet. I want the horse to turn. So I'll make it simple for you men folk here. Anything behind the drive line is the gas pedal and clutch. Okay? Everything in front of the drive line is the steering wheel and brakes. How's that? Okay? Okay. So I need my horsey to go left. Focus, point, and then you can just walk around. There we go. Now, did you feel my pressure go down? Right. Try this and see. Right, and you felt comfortable to do that, didn't you? But the biggest mistake people make is, yeah, here we go. And then we've got too much pressure. Okay? Now, common mistake people make is, did you notice when I sent you, I hesitated, I let the horse go, and then I follow? Okay, let me do this. I'm going to ask you to go. How come you hesitated? Because of my body language. It's a common mistake people make in round penny. They ask the horse to go, but they get in their way. So if I stay in front of that drive line, I kept the brake on. So I have to ask the horse to go. Horse goes. I hesitate and I'll follow. Look how I spiral around and I get behind the drive line so I can keep my foot on the gas pedal. Okay? Now things are going good. Horse isn't challenging me to change directions. We'll address that when I have a horse in here. And I need the horse to change direction. I would step in front of the drive line and back up. Look how she hesitated and stopped. Why? Because I got in front of the drive line. I applied the brake. Who is this making sense to? Show of hands. Yeah? Okay. I step in front of the drive line. I don't go like this, right? Because I'm coming into your face. I'm going to push your face into the rail. Okay? I step off. I might even take another step back. I focus, point, and I put pressure on this side because that's pushing you over, isn't it? Right, go ahead, you bet, I won't whack you. Okay, so horse goes, I hesitate, and I follow behind the drive line. Behind the drive line. Now, let's say this is a naughty horse, and I step in front of the drive line back up, and she stops, but instead of facing in, she turns the other way. Go that way and walk, and everybody follow like a horse. What do I do? Now, I know this lady. Petra, you tell me if you feel pressure if I do this. Do you feel pressure? Yeah. So I just said to, you know what, when a horse shows their butt to you, that's like someone giving you their middle finger, okay? And I don't like that word. So I don't want no horse giving me the middle finger. I want a horse to face me. You can just stop right there for a minute. Why do I want a horse to face me? I'm never going to halter the butt. I'm going to halter the head, okay? And I need two eyes to communicate with that horse, not two cheeks. Does that make sense? Okay? And I'll tell you what, this technique of round penning, if you've got a horse that's difficult to catch, it will help fix that. Because the horse is learning to face you instead of turn away and gone. Okay? Okay. So, when we get our change of direction, so the first thing in round penning is we get a consistency of direction, we get consistency of gait, then we get a change of direction, then the horse is going a new way, so new side, new horse. Who's ever heard that? New side, new horse. Whatever you teach righty, you got to teach lefty. Okay. And train them both the same, and then you can glue them together and you got one good horse. Okay? Okay. And so then I got to teach the new horse consistency of direction, and then consistency of gait and change of direction. Then I want to work at consistent change of direction, and then I want the draw. And how do I get a horse to draw? What I would do is, if the horse stopped, is I would yield the hindquarters, and then I would get the horse to follow me. Okay? People go chasing the head. Don't chase the head. You're going to push that head away from you. I guarantee you, if your horse is yielding their hindquarters, that head is going to come towards you. And the other thing, folks, is the horse is a back-wheel drive animal. Everything about a horse, how they move, is a push, not a pull. Anybody here drive horses? Okay. What is your horse really in when you ask that horse to drive? He has to engage his hindquarters, doesn't he? That's
the end I'm sitting on.
Yeah, and that's called, I hope you Western folks can handle this, that's called collection. Oh no, an English word. Okay? So, see, we got to get out of this right, wrong, English, Western. We got to get hung up on horsemanship. And that's what those horses do, is they engage their hindquarters. And then it's a push. So if your horse is locked up, and who's ever had this when they're leading a horse? They go to lead him and the horse says, he ain't moving his feet. And what do? We pull harder and the horse just locks up more. There is such an easy fix to that, folks. Just disengage the hindquarters. Even it's just one step. The butt is the motor. You just unlock the motor and then the horse can move on with you. So if I wanted to teach you to follow me at liberty, liberty means no halter, no lead, I would just yield the hindquarters, drop my focus, and walk off in a soft spiral. See, did you feel how that draw? Like you wanted to follow me. You can actually feel that, can't you? Yeah. Common mistake people make is they yield, and in the beginning they take off in a straight line. In time, I want to be able to do that, but the reason why we yield and walk off in a spiral is this, because me walking like this is still actually disengaging your hindquarters, so it helps keep the horse moving. Who does that make sense to? Yes? Okay. We break training. First of all, these folks can go sit down. Give these folks a hand. Thank you very much. I'll come with you guys. Thanks a bunch, eh? How are we doing here for time? Okay. Would you folks who were my volunteers make sure you visit my booth there, and we'll give you a complimentary audio CD. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. We break training into two categories: sensitizing and desensitizing. When we sensitize, we apply pressure And when the horse responds, we take off the pressure. So for example, does anybody, Lacey, would you be my volunteer up here? Sure. Thanks. Okay, so Lacey's going to be my lab rat here a minute. Thanks. Okay, so if I wanted, let's say Lacey, for example, to back up, okay, remember sensitizing, I said we apply pressure, and when the horse responds, we take off the pressure. Okay, I'm going to start with pressure, which phase 1 is intention. A little bit more, as soon as she, take off the pressure. Reward the slightest try. Now that's sensitizing. Desensitizing is, say I apply pressure and rub you, okay, and you start moving your feet, okay. The biggest mistake people make is they say, oh honey, darling cupcake, did that bother you? I'll never do that again. You just trained me to not rub you over there, yeah? Okay, so desensitizing is, we apply pressure, but when the horse relaxes, we take off the pressure, okay? So, phase 1, stage 1 of relaxation is quit moving your feet. So I would just stay with it, and if she was all that going around me, and she didn't want to stop just because I wanted to rub her with my stick, all I would do is I would just keep bumping her head to keep facing me. I can outrun any horse that's facing me. Okay, safer. I never get the hindquarters in my face, and the very second you quit moving your feet, I take the pressure off. Look how I'm not going, oh good, that was good, because that's pressure. No, I completely drop my pressure, my intent. Okay? Now, she's not moving her feet no more, but looks like her eyeballs are going to fall out in the sand because she's so stressed. What do I do then? I have to find a reasonable starting point. And for every horse that varies. If I have a real sensitive horse, just like that might be a reasonable starting point. And I'll build. And guess what I'll do? I'll bring you to a state of relaxation. What I won't do is this, okay, pretty soon you should lick your lips and chew, because we all know that, don't we, folks? That's a state of relaxation. Okay? Oh, it's breakfast. Oh, supper, still nothing. Okay, no. I'm going to find a reasonable starting point and bring that horse to a state of relaxation. What would I do, guys, if I was rubbing her and I thought, oh, I can do it for longer now? And this is in the early stages of introducing this. This isn't for a horse that is trained now and understands it. Let's say I rubbed her and she all of a sudden showed me relaxation. What would I do? Would I keep doing it, saying, oh good, there's relaxation, or would I take the pressure off? I take the pressure off to reward relaxation. I'm isolating. That's what I want. Show of hands who that makes sense to. Yes, good. Give Lacey a hand. Thank you, Lacey. I appreciate you. Thank you. Lacey, come by my booth too, please. Okay. So, often I get asked the question, okay. So, with desensitizing, we apply pressure, but when the horse relaxes, we take off the pressure. And with sensitizing, we apply pressure, but when the horse responds, we take off the pressure. How's the horse going to know the difference? Good question. When I'm sensitizing, I have intention. You can feel that, can't you? Yeah, okay. When I'm desensitizing, I'm in neutral. My body language has no intent. Show of hands who that makes sense to. Yes? Good. Okay. So that is the early stages. We can go into way more nitty-gritty of behavior with horses. My audio CD does. We have a booth over there. We have a round penning and online groundwork DVD package. It's a 6-disc set, just under 11 and a half hours of footage with a 31-page supplemental booklet. We then have an introduction to riding DVD package, which is another 6-disc set, just under 11 and a half hours of footage with a 63-page supplemental booklet. And then we have the audio CD. Come by our booth and talk to us if you have any questions. It's very important, if I can impress anything upon you, if you don't think this makes sense to you, the one thing I do want to impress upon you is for goodness sakes, get respect on the ground before you get up there. Why people think it's going to get better when they get up there, I just don't know where that belief is coming from. It only goes from bad to worse. If you're a beginner rider and you know you've got your respect on the ground, and you're starting to ride, are we just about done? Okay, and you're starting to ride, and you're just getting comfortable with walking, or your horse isn't comfortable with walking, don't trot. Okay? And if it's no good at the trot, for goodness sakes, don't lope, because you'll need the Atlantic or the Pacific Ocean to stop. Okay? There's 3 reasons why a horse bucks initially. Later it's learned behavior, but initially there's 3 reasons why a horse bucks. They don't understand, something hurts, and they're scared. And I know right now the way the horse world is going, there's a big hype on behavior, and I teach behavior, but sometimes it scares me because people are getting into all this analytical stuff and they're forgetting to address care issues. So what do I mean? You can never address a behavior issue unless if you've addressed a care issue. I tell vet students this all the time. I speak at different universities. What do I mean by care issues? Hoof care, saddle fit, nutrition. Okay, do you see where I'm going with this? If the saddle hurts, you wonder why that horse is pinning its ears every time you get up there? Might have something to do with that. Dentistry, you put a bit in a horse's mouth and you say, geez, just all of a sudden changes. He rears right up. Do you get your horse's teeth floated? Okay, you might want to check in there. You know, usually you can feel those hooks real easy back there. They're sharp on their teeth. So always make sure that before you start thinking, okay, what's wrong with this horse, that you've addressed a care issue before you can address a behavior issue. Am I out of time? Rats, you know what? I could just do this all day. Okay. Thank you folks very much. I'm doing 2 demos tomorrow. The next one is with a horse, but I wanted to start here to give you an understanding so that tomorrow, hopefully, it makes a little bit more sense because it goes a little faster. And the horse I'm using is not my horse, so it's not a push-button horse. This lady up there has been gracious enough to bring a horse for me to use. And this horse has never, you were telling me, has never been in this type of setting before. No, she's never been away from the herd. She's on the farm. So thank you, Marion, for the horse, because that's a better horse to learn from instead of push-button horse. Thank you for your time. Come and visit us at our booth, just to visit. We're nice folks. Okay, thank you.